everybody. Over the last 8 months, I haven't done a lot of YouTube stuff, just a lot of my FD stuff that was put up. They're pretty rad vlogs. I feel like we try to give like a point of view type deal for you guys. So obviously in those videos, if you haven't seen them yet, jump in, put some comments in there, and let me know how you feel on the vibe. The RTR dudes have been killing it, helping with those vlogs throughout the weekend, and I think they've been doing pretty well, and you guys seem to enjoy them. But I hired a new video guy. He's starting in 2 weeks, so we should be able to get some more content. So I'm going to try to get this flowing again. We're going into the off season. I know a bunch of you are commenting about, hey, the off season's coming. Hopefully there'll be more content, and we're going to try to do that for you guys. Over the last 3 months, I've been doing a little bit of shopping in Japan, trying to buy some cars. I don't really like buying expensive cars from Japan because you don't really know what you're buying. And like, I really like to get in and look at every little aspect of the car before I buy it, because I don't really like buying things that I'm not 100% and that 100% would like, or the deal is so good you can't pass it up. Lately, with the price of the exchange rate and everything, cars have been really good in Japan. And I've always loved Miatas. I've always had a Miata since I was 15. It was like my first real drift car that I competed in, and I've drifted that for like 6 or 7 years. And I've always had one. I now have my grandma's Miata, which also has a video if you want to check that out. But I bought 3 Miatas, 2 of which I sold before I even got to do any content on. But I kept one of the really cool ones, and I wanted to share you guys with that today.
His wife kept one of them.
I think Chelsea might take ownership of this car. I don't know. She might want to drive it first. She hasn't even driven it. She's like, I want it. It's so cool.
I even waxed it for you.
Yeah.
Me.
She did buff it up. It actually, for what it is, being that it's a pretty much circuit car, it actually turned out really well. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So this Miata is a 97, I believe. Actually, no, I lied. It's a 94. I'm about to show you the placard for it. But what's really crazy about it is it's actually an M2 incorporated car. So there's only 300 of these ever made. So it's actually stamped on the door, M2 incorporated, with the build date 8/31/94, and it has its own serial number. And this is an M2 1028 car, which is pretty much the, you all right, Pop? She wants to eat something. She doesn't want to eat. So that is like one of the rarest of them, and basically they only came in white and this color, like black. And I'll show you some things about the car that is different than a normal one. So it has a full FRP hardtop with a Lexan rear window, and it's factory. So we can jump over here, and it shows M2 incorporated polycarbonate. So this passed Nippon safety, which is like DOT in Japan. So that's really cool. It does not have the aluminum trunk lid that they came with. They normally had a little duck build trunk lid, and I do not believe that this is the factory one. So somebody changed it probably to put this horrific wing that they had on there. I don't know what it was. I didn't get to see it then. But yeah, so that's no longer there. Another really cool thing about it is it has the factory aluminum roll cage, which is pretty wild.
Take it, maybe show it.
Okay. So it bolts into all of these factory locations, and it has the factory roll bar padding still, and it comes up over the top with the main hoop and down into these aluminum latches that are, again, that's factory. So the main hoop, or the down bar, bolts to the A-pillar. And it has these little side structures here. And obviously you can see it's a circuit car, or was built as one. And then it has some really, really cool Japanese gauges. So an ultra speed meter, so that basically takes the speedometer and converts it to work for basically like a lap timer, RPM, trip meter, and 0 to 60 and quarter mile. And then it's got a bunch of the like JDM gauges, pivot step control, Armori gauges. Like all these work properly. Like even the, here I can show you guys. Even like the turn, oh, that's the wiper. See, I'm like so American. Like the turn signals work, the low oil light works, the, oh, I did it again. The high beams work. I'm really not good at this. It's because I'm trying to film and do this at the same time. And it's got a fan controller here by Sard. It is push button start, and it's a factory non-AC car, which is kind of neat. Like again, it's kind of, like I said, a circuit car for that. And then if we, this is what's some really cool stuff here too. So this corner light here, or sorry, the plexiglass here opens up so you can get some air. Has a little capture thing on the back. Flex in. I'll give you this back. Oh, thanks. So under the hood is an engine that I know absolutely nothing about. But we're rolling away.
Love that.
So I don't know anything about the long block itself. I know for sure it has cams in it because it's choppy even with individual throttle bodies. Typically ITB cars with big cams can idle a lot better because it pulls air separately and not from a single plenum. And it still has like a strong like idle chop. So I'm imagining it's got some pretty good cams in it. And the rev limiter is 8,500, which if you know Miata stuff, the stock one is 7,200. So clearly they're doing something there to make some power. And if anybody is super into like Miatas or JDM type Miata engines, maybe you can give me some insight when we're going over this. But it has adjustable cam gears. It has what I believe to be Toyota throttles. I don't know 100%. I think they're 20 valve throttles just by the way this is set up. I can't be sure. But yeah, it's got the ITB stacks underneath these filters, which we're gonna leave on. I'm not a big open filter guy. Some weird crankcase ventilation stuff going on here. The intake air temp sensor is zip tied in the general area of where it would be pulling air from. It has a giant oil cooler that is actually under here in this area, which I'm not really sure how it gets a ton of airflow, but I haven't seen the oil temp go over 70°C yet, so I think it's doing something, or the temp gauge isn't working. I'm not sure. And then it's got this like chassis brace thing in here that is kind of welded in there, and I think it's because they have to get rid of the bumper bar. So of course it's got NGK wires and NGK plugs because they are the only plugs and wires that work on a Miata. Every other set of wires I've ever had has been complete utter failure. And then a pretty decent 4 to 2 to 1 header on there. I haven't had this on the lift yet, so we probably should toss it up there and have a look at the actual exhaust. It has an NVIDIA exhaust on it. M2 incorporated VIN here too. Again, that's like the 1 of 300 thing. And what's wild is I did not know this was an M2 car when I bought it in Japan. Like, I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, it's gotta be decent. And the reason why I knew it was gonna be decent is because in Japan, most people run like, on these kind of cars, run like an E-Manage or like a ROM tune or any of those. Nobody really runs like ball or ECUs. And I'll get the shot here. It has a Motec in it, which is like insane. Like, it's the most wild thing I've ever seen one of these cars have. It doesn't make sense to me. And it runs great. Like, a little bit choppy when it's, you know, totally cold, but like driving it around and everything, it's real good. And I'm gonna throw a passenger seat in here so you guys can go for a ride and check it out. But it's got crank windows and they actually crank.
Smooth.
It's got, oh, I forgot to show this too.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's been a while.
Oh, I don't know what this is either. Maybe one of you guys can help me. I don't know what that is. I think maybe it's a bracket for a power steering pump, but like, I don't know why this would be like that. Like is it a tensioner maybe? It's kind of far back. Maybe an oil pump chain tensioner thing. I don't know much about these motors. I've never opened them. I made a ton of power without opening them. It's got FC 4-piston brakes and a just massive amount of wheel spacer that we're going to have to take a look at. It's got some really old Tane flex coilovers on it. That kit, that M2 kit, also has factory, like these are from the dealership tow hooks that are on there. Again, it has an NVIDIA exhaust. It's got some other little supplemental bracing. It's got this silly rubber wing on here, but oh, And I don't know what this company does. I know this is like a motorcycle shop in Japan. They sell like safety gear and motorcycle stuff.
Just keep poking that freaking
Alexa,
window, dude.
yeah, I'm on there. But sweet. I'm gonna go throw a seat in it, and then you gotta take you guys for riding it.
Chopping.
Chop. What you know about the chop chop? She got some chop to her.
Took the cartoons. My phone's doing the like little like gleam over the light thing.
Headlights too. Those are cool.
Thank you, boo.
Oh, and it has a garage ferry front bumper.
Thanks.
They are very official with how they did this. It's got its own like chassis glued base plate. It's weird, like they even put a plate that like, obviously it goes on the other side of this, but and like they didn't want it to rattle, so they put this little rubber there. But they put a plate on the bottom in case you bottom the car out, it wouldn't touch any of these bolts. It like covers all the bolts. So the more research I did about this M2 Incorporated company is basically they were like an RTR for Miatas. So they built they actually built some other Mazdas too. But yeah, they basically just were like a subsidiary that built out like performance versions
Cool
of the
cars.
So yeah, like a RTR Miata basically. All right, so we ran over to Ben's used Miata parts. But he had like a ton of Miata parts. We grabbed some for these cars that we were putting together. And I got a bunch of seats because I knew a couple of the cars that were coming over had like upgraded seats. Because in Japan, like most people that own Miatas, they buy them to track them, which is similar to the US too. But they definitely are very heavy in the tracking stuff over there.
What do you think, pup?
Go grab a socket from the seats.
Do you approve?
Oh, we are in business. Lounging. Your seat's better than that one. This is like an old school Recaro that's in here, which is sick, but it doesn't really fit very well.
So we have the headrest out.
I'm gonna put another Miata seat in the driver's seat for now. Let's take it for a rip. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. It's got push button start.
Dang.
It's ricer. The throttle response is ridiculous. So we don't really know anything about this engine. So I pulled some timing out with the crank angle or cam angle sensor because I'm sure it was tuned for race fuel. On my first drive out before I did that, I heard a little bit of ping in the low RPM. So I took about 5 degrees out of it to be safe until we can put it on the dyno. The thing about this car is like this could be a 2.1 liter crazy built stroked engine. Some of the parts that are on here are from a company called Mahora, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong. But those engines are like $7,000 or $8,000 for a long lot, so I don't want to blow it up. So I pulled some timing out of it, and it seems to be happy. But I won't like really run it crazy hard and track it or anything until I can get to the dyno first. See how she does here. Oh my god. Oh yeah. The sound is so good. Like, you cannot beat that. So good. When I got the car over here, I changed oil. I put some Pennzoil 1060 in it. Again, not knowing about what the motor's like, I thought it'd be important to make sure we change oil in it. And like that last run, you can see like the tach shows the peak. It was about 8,200 RPM. And she's just like still pulling, but like I don't want to find out what the weakness is. But the sound is so sick. Like it's like 6,000. Like the response is so good. Whoever tuned in Japan definitely knew what they were talking about and what they were doing. Alright, so we're gonna try out this 0 to 60 thing and see if it works. Oh, big wheel spin. So 6.6 with a ton of wheel spin. I kind of probably need to try that again. That was a ton of wheel spin. More wheel spin again. Slower.
We'll go
It's
with
definitely way faster than that. I would imagine it's a 5.960 0 to 60 time. So either way, handles good, everything works. Doesn't really need anything. It's getting really nice here in Florida, so I don't need the air conditioning, which is nice. It stays cool. Oil pressure is good. I'm going to do some more research and try to find out what the motor has done to it. But I can tell you, it for sure has at least 40 more horsepower than a stock Miata, which is incredible NA because they only make about 100 horsepower NA. And this one makes probably about 150 maybe. I don't know. We'll put it on the dyno and we'll find out. But I'm really excited about this car. I got a great deal on it. It's way more than I expected it to be. And I'm ready to take it to the track and enjoy it after throwing it on and dyno tuning it.
He's excited to give it to his wife.